of Ruben Amorim's press conference was dull, part 2 was anything but. Tons of speculation coming out from that press conference from different media outlets, different journalists about Ruben Amorim's future. Ruben was going in and fighting his system. What's happening after the Sunderland game? We have got an absolute ton to get through this morning with updates on them Saudi friendlies as well to creep in here. What Ruben said about all of the former Manchester United players' comments. Which journalists were saying that Ruben's in trouble? Which journalists were saying Ruben isn't? And your thoughts here on Match Day, everybody. Get into the live chat right now. Let's get into all of this. There are a few different ways that we could have run the story this morning. We could have run the negative, we could have run the positive. But come on, it's Match Day, it's Manchester United. We need the win today at home to Sunderland. So let's just run with an overall, let you decide on what you think is going on right now, because there is so much, like I said, to get through. First of all, before the embargoed version of this press conference was released last night, around about 10:30, as it always is with a Friday to Saturday press conference to game day. And David Ornstein was talking on NBC, talking about Manchester United in general. So he pretty much just backed up his colleague Laurie Whitwell from what he said on Talk of the Devils the other day by saying, and this was from David Ornstein saying this, from what he has been told, there are assurances for Ruben Amorim, even if Manchester United lose the game today against Sunderland, that he will still be in that hot seat after this weekend. There is no signs or no plans whatsoever for Manchester United to get rid of Ruben Amorim. No definites being lined up as replacements for him, and Manchester United will go into the international break and come back against Liverpool and play with Ruben Amorim in charge of this team. That was from Ornstein. Ornstein, just to go through everything that he did say on all of the points, he says the majority of the players are behind Ruben Amorim, largely behind Ruben Amorim, and want him to succeed and want this to work for him. Largely is a very, very key word in all of that. That obviously means that there is some people that are not fully convinced. That I think is natural, because let's be honest, we're not playing very well and there's going to be doubts. We've talked about it all week. He also goes in to say that thankfully, and this is a fantastic way to start the show today on Match Day, everybody, as well, is that there is definitely no sign of Gareth Southgate being Manchester United's next manager. Come on! There you go. That's like a goal already today, that one. No Southgate at Manchester United. So, in pretty much just saying there, look, from what I know, it is definitely not going to be Gareth Southgate if Ruben is fired or sacked by Manchester United. There is no signs, no noises, no conversations, nothing significant whatsoever. Southgate is not going to be a Manchester United manager if Ruben Amorim is let go by Ineos. So, good way to start the evening. It did escalate into something completely different past that, though. But on them points from David Ornstein, before we get into the other news quickly, when you look at what he says there, like I said a moment ago, Laurie Whitwell's pretty much the same. And Laurie Whitwell is his ears on the ground when it comes to the ins and outs of around Manchester United. Laurie Whitwell has got a lot of contacts within the football club, around the players, the staff, and obviously certain things that are going on at Carrington. So that's going to be where. But in terms of big decisions, we always look to David Ornstein to give us the go-ahead and the green light. So today we can feel quite confident and comfortable in the fact that, well, not comfortable because there's a lot of people that don't like Ruben Amorim and the way he's playing and how he's operating, but still, in terms of what we need to know and what we know is going to happen after today, I think we can be relaxed that there is going to be no breaking news that Ruben Amorim is going to believe in Manchester United, and that he is, no matter what the result today, going to be in charge come that Liverpool game after the international break. That's important. The Southgate news also on top of that, very, very important as well. So I think it was dampened by David Ornstein last night around the Ruben Amorim situation, and he was very, very clear as well, and fully confident in what he was saying, that there is no signs of anybody else at the moment. The players, like I said, another bit about that, largely behind Ruben Amorim. He's being very careful there with what he's actually saying there, I feel. And I think largely is the key word, like I said a moment ago. Not everybody is there. I mean, you would have seen at the bottom of your screen there, there's reports coming out this morning about Joshua Zirkzee looking for another football club. I completely get that. And when David Ornstein says largely behind Ruben Amorim, there are obvious ones that are just not getting game time that you've got to be thinking, I need to find somewhere else. Joshua Zirkzee, poor sod, he's just not going to get in this team, is he? We said this, and this was a concern that we all spoke about at the site, and Peter O'Rourke has been talking this morning as well, and that story is probably doing the rounds. You've probably seen it on social media. I think that might be what Ornstein is talking about. Not like the leadership group or them players that are playing games right now. I'm thinking, you're not behind Ruben if you're not playing games. And I think that's the same with every club, isn't it? If you're not playing games, then you clearly want to be elsewhere. And you don't see a future for yourself. So I get it. That's fine. And I get Zirkzee's situation. He has been one that has really suffered from Ruben coming in with the numbers that we've got in his position where he plays and the amount of investment this summer into that front line. He's definitely going to be one player you would expect not to be on board with what Ruben is doing right now, and I do feel like he will be gone pretty soon, maybe even in January, because Manchester United just don't have enough games. So Ornstein sets off with the full-on defensive of Ruben Amorim, and we are quite comfortable leading into the rest of the night. After I read that, I thought, okay, there you go. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow morning leading into the game. A little bit of a positive, like we all know where we stand sort of story going on. And then, bang, embargoed version of the press conference is dropped. And two journalists that were there in that press conference go straight in on Ruben Amorim and his future. James Ducker of The Telegraph being the first one, he came straight out and said that if Ruben Amorim loses this game against Sunderland, he could be sacked. He could be gone. And that came straight out from Ducker, and it's like, hang on a minute. You just had Ornstein talking about Ruben being safe even if he loses the game, and then Ruben being under pressure from a man on the ground who's actually asking questions to Ruben in that press conference yesterday. So I don't know if he's spoken to someone or any of the hierarchy at Manchester United in terms of how the vibe is and what's going on. But he has gone firmly on the Ruben out side of things and saying that if Ruben Amorim loses this weekend, he might not be at Manchester United come that next game that Ornstein said he would be playing in, which was obviously the Liverpool game after the international break. So it's a strange situation when you've got one big journalist saying one thing, who we're going to believe because it's David Ornstein. I would definitely trust Ornstein over James Ducker, The Telegraph. No disrespect to James Ducker, good journalist and knows a lot around Manchester City and Manchester United, has been doing it for years. But why would Ornstein come out and say that? And by the way, Laurie Whitwell in that press conference yesterday avoided any questions about Ruben Amorim's future. I'll tell you what he asked in a moment and what line of questions he went down, but it was nothing to do at all with Ruben Amorim leaving United or the chance of him being sacked. So the Athletic are full on, no chance Ruben leaves from what they know. Now, obviously, things change, but Ducker's stance on this was, from people he has spoken to, Ruben's out. He's gone. Like, there is real unrest at Manchester United. And then that was backed up by Chris Wheeler of the Daily Mail. And he went in even worse by saying some of the players have even given up on Ruben Amorim's system and are growing very tired of it now. Ruben is under immense pressure at Manchester United. And everything that's happened at the football club over the space of this season has really started to, where it started positively, started to drift away from an understanding level and what's actually going on the pitch. Ruben saying one thing, the players are just not grasping it. We'll get into what Ruben actually said around his system in a minute, but this is the main story really. It's like someone's not actually telling the truth here in a way, because there's one full story on one side and then two stories on the other side going completely against it from what's being said. And this is people asking people in and around Manchester United the same question. I would go with Ornstein on this and definitely say that Ornstein knows some definite answers regarding Manchester United more than other journalists, because he's got a track record of it. The past record for Ornstein definitely outweighs the other journalists. And again, like I said then a minute ago, no disrespect to the other journalists who are talking the other way here, but I would tend to go on the Athletic side of things with this because they've been pretty much spot on with everything about United. So, but you then ask the question, like, who are these journalists asking? Who are they talking to that are coming out with this news about Manchester United not feeling 100% behind Ruben Amorim? Because Wheeler says it. He says the players, there is a disconnect. Some players have given up and are not trusting in what Ruben wants. Like what James Ducker said, if he loses this game, Chris Wheeler is saying the pressure is on. He uses a quote in his article, actually, from what Ruben Amorim said. And Ruben's saying, look, there will come a time where the pressure is too much and I might lose my job. He's also gone and said, I'm not scared about losing my job, but he said, like, it's a job. He's not the type of character to worry about losing a job, about paying the bills and that. He's well off and he knows he's comfortable on that. That's what he meant. So that was taken out of context again and I think lost in translation on that one. He's not worried about losing his job. Doesn't mean he feels safe at Manchester United. It just means that he doesn't worry in his personality about things like this. He doesn't let it affect his day-to-day. And we know this already. But Ruben did come out and say this, and Chris Wheeler has quoted him on this in his piece to back him up, as in the pressure of what's actually going on right now with him at United. And him saying, look, there are owners, there are two owners, there are sponsors, there is a need for winning games. I'm not stupid, I need to win games to give ourselves time to move forward. It is all about the results. Look, he's not, he knows where he's at, Ruben Amorim. He knows. He's confident in what he's doing, but he knows the situation and how big this football club is regarding his job. I think we can safely say he knows how the land lies with that one. So we're not saying he's delusional here, and we're not saying that he thinks he's going to be safe and he's going to get the time. At least he actually comes out and owns that and accepts that this isn't good enough for where Manchester United are in the league table. And Wheeler uses that in his article. And when he's talking about the pressure on Ruben Amorim now and the change, one big thing in Wheeler's piece was the change after the Brentford game and the hierarchy and the shift in mindset as to what they're going to do going forward. And this is sort of in line with what Ducker was saying. After Brentford, and I think a lot of people, look, we always say it, don't we? And we're getting a lot more information out of Manchester United these days as well, and knowing what's going on, more than what probably any other club has. But we've all said it, like, after a full week of training, with nothing in between, nothing else to work on, but beating a, let's be honest, average Brentford side, who are a lot weaker than they were last season, if you cannot get a team fully prepared for that game, then it was very, very concerning for all Manchester United fans. Interesting how Wheeler uses the Brentford game in his piece, though, to say that the hierarchy has been a shift in what they're thinking after the Brentford game, and that there's a lot of players that are not on board with what's going on. They're not trusting in what he's telling them. And this is that, what we've said all week, that scenario of inevitability of a manager leaving Manchester United, and the same noises and stories coming out again. And right on match day, you get two stories like this. I know they've got to do the job, and I know they're going to spread the negativity if it's there. And if someone tells them something from the club, they're going to write it. It's their jobs. But it has really set a bit of a tone for the start. Like I said today, like, which way do you go? Which way do you start your show for match day? Do you go with the positive of Ornstein or the two journalists which are doubling down that Ruben is in big, big, big trouble? Look, there are some fans that would just jump onto the Wheeler and the Ducker story and go, boom, there we go. That's what I needed to hear. I'm sick of this manager. He's had all of his time. Look, there was a big, big sort of defence of Ruben Amorim, it felt like, on social media last night. Let's get behind the manager. Let's stop moaning about what the decision's been from Ineos. Look, on a game day, you're always going to feel this way. And the emotions of a game day within a Manchester United fan, I know it myself. I'm a match-going fan, as you know. And on game days, I always feel a little bit more upbeat. But there is a big, big doubt at the back of my mind still today. As much as I am looking forward to the game today and want Manchester United to win, I've given Manchester United the win in my predictions. You all seen my team last night on the video. Thank you for all the comments on that, by the way. If you haven't seen my team compared to what I think will happen, go watch that video special after this live show this morning. That is up there on the channel right now. Then a win for United today is huge because, look, at the end of the day, I don't want Ruben to go. I want Ruben to win. Look, I want it to be successful. I want it to be Ruben Amorim's Manchester United. But I'm not, like Ruben says, Look, I know what he's saying. I know what he's trying to do. I understand the moments in the game that Ruben's talked about in that press conference, and that being the difference, not the system. But I understand where United are, and we cannot accept this. We cannot accept it. The one thing that I do always hold against Ruben Amorim is, look, he can talk about mistakes and people making mistakes in games and it costing us and it not being the system that he keeps on going on about. But he keeps shoehorning the wrong players into this system who have been really poor for Manchester United before and have shown nothing to convince anybody that they are good enough. He keeps putting them players in, and I cannot defend him on that. I'll give him his dues on everything else, like I said, and I want to give him the time, but if he keeps on playing these players in these positions that are not working, then you're in control of that. And if you're in control of that, you're going to get the blame. And it's just an inevitability. Not a want, not a need. It's inevitable that this will happen. So it's not like we're arguing against him and want him out and digging out another manager. It's there in front of you. He isn't going to change, by the way. The press conference pretty much said that as well. So look, I hope the players get it. I hope the players feed into it. I was confident there for 1 minute after what Ornstein said that, maybe not. Maybe they are going to get this system and work it out. I've got zero confidence in this system, by the way, and this formation. Absolutely zero confidence. I'm just hoping, like every other fan, that these players miraculously get it. But I know these players. You know these players. And we are clutching at straws. And that, I think, is where every single Man United fan is at the moment. We will always get behind our team. We will always cheer them on the day. And we will always go for the win and want the win. But like I just said a moment ago, the back of my mind right now, there is that huge doubt about this team. And we know what's coming. We know what's coming. That's what's in front of us there. That's what we're arguing against. All of the talk, I thought there was going to be a big charm offensive leading up to this game. And that's what I expected last night from Ornstein. And like I said, just before we get into the comment section, one more thing there. I fully expected to be coming in, bouncing in, match day, as I always would. And you all know, let's go for it. Let's get the win. And let's just talk about some decent football, hopefully. Bang. Journalists at the press conference yesterday dig their heels in and give us this to talk about. And it's like, which way are we going? And we're going to get into Ruben's quotes in a moment. But I've gone on long enough there about the opening two sections of it. Wherever you are, which story are you going for? Which one do you want to listen to? Look, I know it's emotional. I know it's as a United fan, where do you want to be? Naturally, you want to go with Ornstein and look at the positive. And I think that's where, obviously, a lot of Manchester United fans will be at on a match day. But you know that them journalists are speaking to other people in there. And it's not all roses at Manchester United. Look where we are in the league, for God's sake. So, yeah, if you want to be the negative and still feel like there is nothing there for you, that is completely your decision on that. And obviously, the facts are there to back you up on it. And look, it's game day and we're praying because nobody's got any hope in this system. I think that's where I'm at. I'm hoping something's going to change. But I'm a realist and I see what's happening right now. And there's not enough there for me to hold on at the moment too. Right, I'm just going to scroll up and stop randomly. Where are we at here? Steve says, still wants him to turn things around as he seems a really decent human, but he has to be bold. Ditch his infiltrating stubbornness and misplaced player favoritism. Otherwise, it has to be goodbye. Gary says, he's talking to someone else there. Flashfire says, should have never bought Sesko and used the money on a midfielder instead and play a 3-4-1. With a new midfield and Mainu, the Bruno anchor midfield and Mbeumo Cunha striker partnership. Well, they're not natural strikers, mate. So Flash, that doesn't work straight away. You're obviously there shoehorning players in again. Like, they're not strikers. You needed that natural striker in there. So no, I disagree with the Sesko one. I don't think we should have bought 2 10s. Now that's my thing. We needed a striker. We needed maybe 1 10 at most. And then we needed 2 central midfielders. That's what the window should have been. I haven't got any issue with Sesko at all. And I can't wait to see him again. I hope he scores again today. Because I am starting to see something in Sesko in these games. Even though the rest of the team has been awful, I feel sorry for him. But he has been a positive in the last 2 games. And no one's going to convince me otherwise anyway. But look, it's your opinion, mate. And I think a lot of people have got opinions on the window. It could have been dealt with differently. No issue with the players that were brought in. I don't think anybody has got issues with the players that were brought in. But again, it's the positions of the players that we were brought in that's the big argument. No speculation, Adam. He's being backed, and that's it. And I'm glad he's going to make a lot of people eat their words. Well, there is speculation, Mac. Like it's there. It's there. It's like in black and white, mate. So you can't ignore it. As much as you want to be positive, and I love that, Red, mate. But you can't say that there's no speculation, mate, because it's there. It's written, and it is about his job. So yeah, come on. The obvious is there, and you know this is always going to be there with Manchester United anyway. But yeah, I'm happy for you to go with that positive, mate, and I hope he does make everybody eat their words, because it would be a breath of fresh air for this fan base and for Manchester United going forward that we didn't sack someone. He did turn it around, but you're never going to convince me. Oh, well, no one's going to say anything that's going to convince me. I'm going to need to be convinced by what I see, and that's just me. And I'm not seeing it at the moment. So I'm in hope. Like I said, I'll still carry on hoping. Amarim can turn things around if he stops playing favourites, stops being stubborn, be open to learning and improving as a manager. Teams find him easy to play against, so change. Jody says, yes, defo, he's a very stubborn guy and favours players, which needs to stop. There's a lot of people on the favouritism shout this morning as well. Ineos went all in for a young manager who was all over the Portuguese league with the best team in their league, and they thought, yeah, he is the one for us. No, he's not. Unfortunately, he has to go ASAP. You bang that drum, Tomo. Tomo's on one drum banging mission, I think, going off the chat this morning. Lots of people replying to other people's comments in there, and I think doing it very fairly as well. So thank you, everybody, for keeping it civil and having a proper debate. We don't fall out on here. Nobody's opinions are wrong, by the way. Everyone's got their own thoughts on things, and I'm just looking at it there in the chat. Top job. I love that. And yeah, I like a good football debate on this because, look, the one thing that this has brought out, the speculation side to the Ornstein side and what's going on, I think it's right where we're at, because there's doubts and then there's positive thinkers. There's the hope against the doubters, and then you've got something in the middle which has failed this club for a long time, players. So Ruben's got to get into these players. He has to somehow change the mindsets of these players, and that's the big job. And that's what, and we'll go into these comments in a moment from Ruben Amorim, that's what I think is going to be key in everything going forward. Well, for his survival anyway. Cornish Melissa says, I love how the fans and the media are with United. With the last manager, we played a 4-2-3-1. The fans were shouting for Eric Ten Hag to change the system. Now we're a different system, and it's the same thing. No, I don't think it was the system, Mel, to be honest. I think it's actually the players he was playing and the favourites again that he was playing. He kept on playing, but let's not forget, he was the one that was trying to play Mazraoui in at 10 instead of playing Ahmad. This is where Ten Hag buried himself. It wasn't so much the system being the problem, it was the players he kept playing and the players he was ignoring. And then the absolute false approach to speaking in the media and telling the fans that they were watching something that they weren't. That's the one side that Ruben I love, because he doesn't do, there's no fluff with him. He doesn't tell you one thing that you are not seeing. At least he says what he sees is what we see. He's not a manager who's trying to convince us that we're watching a different game altogether, because that's what Ten Hag did constantly. And yeah, he lost it, I think, with a lot of fans when he left Ahmad on the bench, played Mazraoui ahead of him, and even brought on Anthony ahead of him as a substitute in that game. That was the writing on the wall right there. That was like, this guy's basically kept you in a job at the start of the season, but now you are not playing him. Honestly, it was crazy. Adam, in what order can you lose? Sorry, so it's a typo. Absolutely destroyed me then, Pete. Sorry, mate. In what order can you lose so bad, be bad, can get fired and get a big payoff? Not many, apart from football, mate. If Lamens is playing today, don't know what I'll do. Yeah, Lamans. I mean, we'll get onto that later on when we start the show and the watch along. Don't forget, everybody, big watch along later on this afternoon. We're kickstarting everything at 1:30. Full day of content today. We're going earlier with the watch along. We've got people coming on talking. We've got a big build up to the show. Then the watch along itself. Massive push today again from everybody. If you haven't already, get onto your match bingo cards now. Pop in FUTV when you put your deposit in. All caps FUTV, and you get 200% deposit booster. It's only £2 a card to play the game. Gems in there who have pinned comment up has won over 600 quid on this game already. Some of the other guys already have as well. Get your cards now on Match Bingo, everybody. QR code on your screen and that link in the live chat and in description under Match Bingo. It's the top link in there as well, everybody. Click on that and get your cards now. Also in there is the link for the live watch-along, pub watch-along. Come and join me as United play Spurs. You'll be on the channel. You can watch the game with me. We'll have a drink. We'll talk football. That is a event now, ticketed event. That is booked. So get your tickets for that as well. That is also in the description, everybody. I back Ruben until Ineos don't. Just have faith, says Ant with a super chat. Right, let's get on to these comments that Ruben has come up with from this press conference. He goes in on so much. It's kind of going in on the media and the former players side of things, and you can take it a few different ways with this. You can take it that Ruben Amorim is calling out the media. You can take it that he is just using the media to basically say, look, when... I just think I'll pop Laurie Whitwell's tweet up on this as well, which is basically says everything you need to know. Guys, I am the manager of a big club, and this and is the media, and it is the media that is going to dictate what I'm going to do. It's not going to dictate what I'm going to do. It cannot be, not possible to sustain that. I don't want to change your minds, but my players, I guarantee you, they are listening to you. When the system doesn't work, the players are looking at what's being written and what's being said, and he goes mad about it. He talks about going mad about it and trying to convince his players, but he's saying what the media is writing about the system and the formation, the players are listening to. So they've actually spoken about this clearly with inside Old Trafford, the media and what they are writing. And he goes in to say the former players as well, because he was asked a question about the likes of what Rooney was saying, what Gary Neville was saying, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane. And again, he says, like, former players, this is a big club and he expects this sort of thing. But this is the part of the job that he's finding difficult. It's convincing his players that the system and what he wants from them is right, and this is how it's going to go going forward. The system doesn't fail, the players fail. And this is, again... If the players, and I said this point, I was talking to Kaz about it this morning, if the players are listening to the media and they're listening to what former players are saying, and it's convincing them in their minds that this system isn't right for them and they're getting performances like this, and that's concerning alone. But Ruben coming out and saying it's not the system, so it's not him, it's the moments in games, which the moments in games then comes down to the players. So that again makes me think, if Ruben's saying that his system and formation is okay, it's not that. If you look at the games, it's individual moments, it's moments in games where we can defend, where we can tackle. He's going in on the players as well there. So if the players are listening to the media, are they not listening to Ruben speak to the media as well? Because this is in-house, and they're sat there listening to what Ruben's saying. And then I start to thinking maybe that's where Wheeler's got his article from the Daily Mail. Because he's listening to Ruben Amorim say there that there are moments in games where you see things just go wrong and we don't deal well with a certain situation, or we don't react well to a certain situation. That's the players. So he's defending himself in a way here. But again, is he not realising that he is kind of outing the players here for not dealing with certain situations right themselves? And then he goes on to say, obviously all of the time as well, it's about the mentality of the players. That's what we have to change. Then yeah, I get that the mentality is a big thing, but is he then not giving an excuse to the players, like, and the pressure that there is at this football club, the mentality you have to have? Like, is he giving them an excuse there? Is this where the fallout and the what Ducker and Wheeler are reporting is coming from. That the players are not completely on board with him. You can look at it a few different ways. You really can. And I don't know, to be honest, how many players are going to be on board with this. From what I've seen, there are players, obviously, that want to be on board with this. And we can only judge from what we see on the pitch. Like, no one sees what happens in training. He said this week that Manchester United were intense in training and we did everything we possibly could to rectify mistakes and errors that were made in the Brentford game in preparation for the Sunderland game. So training is training. Until they do it on the pitch, this media onslaught is going to continue for Ruben Amorim. And I get that he's fighting. I get that he's coming back fighting. And there is something in him actually backing his own ways and his system and believing in himself. You wouldn't want him to ditch what he actually does. I think what he also needs to grasp, though, with this is that the media are not going in, and the former players are not going in on him as such. It's like, it's not his system, it's the adaptability, how he doesn't tweak it. It's like everybody knows that certain players are playing out of position. Everybody knows he didn't need too many 10s. And everybody knows that if you put more players on the pitch in an area of that pitch that has been overrun nearly every single game, barring the Arsenal one this season, then United would cope better. Look, he's done that press conference. He's given it the big one. The media have gone one way and then some have gone the other way. We're all getting ready and prepared for the game. Until we kick off and watch Sunderland dissect that midfield again, then it's all just going to be words. We need action. We need things to happen on the pitch. We need to see these players believing in this system to convince us. I'm just not there. I don't think the players are there, and I don't think we are anywhere near where we need to be. I really don't think that Manchester United right now are in a position, or Ruben's in a position, to actually say that we are getting there. Things are changing. Like, he needs something to happen for him. He needs a very, very convincing win for these players to go, oh, hang on a minute, this actually does work in this. Look, I think there'll be bits today. I think the crowd will carry the team again today for a long periods. Old Trafford has been a really good atmosphere so far this season. And I do believe that Manchester United will get to that point where we will get the win today by hook or by crook. I've said my prediction will be a 1-0 win. I don't expect it to be pretty football at all, but I expect Manchester United will get the win against Sunderland today. We have to think that we can get the win against Sunderland today. Glenn says, with his renewed membership, 12 months gold member. Thank you very much, mate. Love that. Did any of them actually ask about the game yesterday? As don't remember any questions on who's playing, injured, etc. Nothing at all, mate. Nothing. It was just an opportunity to back up questions that they had lined up from conversations they've had with United sources about problems that were in and around the football club. Look, if we had a midweek game in Europe, it might have been a different chance, but because the media are so deprived of getting access to Ruben Amorim, it's like they've waited all week for this 15-minute press conference to just ask questions about what they've been working on throughout the week and forget about the game completely. I don't know anything, and I haven't seen anything. There was a bit yesterday where we talked about Sunderland and how difficult they are and what type of season that they're having, and that was it. So, yeah, again, it's a nothing press conference in terms of the game. It's just an opportunity to actually ask questions that they really wanted to get a little bit more information out or get a reaction from, like we said yesterday. Brian says, why is gifted Aiden Heaven being totally ignored? Again, the story going across the bottom of your screen. Joshua Zirkzee, Aiden Heaven, players that might not be on board with Ruben Amorim right now because they're not getting game time. This is where I think we go back to the David Ornstein comments again on this one, Brian, because there are a few players there. He says large amounts of the players, they're largely behind Ruben Amorim. Obviously, they're not all behind Ruben Amorim, so I would say the players that are not getting much game time, maybe Kobe. I don't know. We're guessing at this point. Gary says, the Portuguese bluffer always wins at one game a month. So today has to be that day or we are effed this month. We've only got 3 games in October. And on to that as well. I'll get through all of your comments in them. They're going to have a big piece right at the end of this show as well. But Laurie Whitwell's comments yesterday in the press conference. Remember when I said earlier on that the Athletic in all, I've not asked any questions about the Ruben Amorim job situation. We just had Ornstein's comments come out before the press conference, released embargoed version last night. But Laurie Whitwell's question was about Manchester United playing a friendly or friendlies in between. And Ruben's answer to this straight away was, yes, we need to. We need it for the finances, we need it for the players, we need it for the fans. So it does look like Man United are going to be organising friendly games in between Premier League weeks while other teams are out playing in Europe and the competitions we should be in. We're out across the other side of the world playing friendlies to earn money to try and survive. And that there tells you exactly where this football club is right now. We're playing mid-season friendlies in a season where we need to get back into Europe just to earn enough money in case we don't get into Europe at the end of this season. Makes sense, doesn't it? But there's something totally wrong with what I just said there. It really isn't what Manchester United are all about or what we used to be. But needs must is the words that are coming out of Ruben Amorim's mouth right now. Like he says before, even Romano has talked about this and tweeted this out this morning. Nobody here is naive. We understand we need results to continue the project. We will reach a point that is impossible for everyone because this is a very big club with a lot of sponsors. So the balance is really hard. You can tell this is a man that's been brought in by Ineos, can't you? The money, the sponsors, what's needed, what Manchester United must do to survive. Like Ruben Amorim there and him bigging up friendlies. I never thought I would have seen a Manchester United manager come out and say this is what the club has to do. Look, I'm not blaming Ruben for this or having a go at him at all. Don't take it the wrong way. I just never thought that this day would come. But we're here and this is our new reality as Manchester United fans. Friendlies in the Middle East, friendlies to survive financially and to give game time to players like Joshua Zirkzee or like Kobbie Mainoo when it's not really important. Maybe we'll see Aiden Heaven in some of these friendlies. How do the players react? How do you go from friendly mode to game mode? I mean, I know there's no such thing as a friendly these days, but warm weather training and all of that's been a thing that's been there for everybody and every club throughout seasons before when the chance comes. But actually organising friendlies to earn money because we're not in Europe, it's quite embarrassing for Manchester United right now. Look, the idea, again, I just didn't expect it to ever come to this, but the idea is a good one when you look at it on paper, and Man United need to do it. We need to survive. So, yeah, them friendlies are probably going to happen. How many we have, I don't know yet. Nothing has been said. Laurie Whitwell did run the report on The Athletic this week about Manchester United looking into potential friendlies in the Saudi Pro League and other leagues around the Middle East, the UAE. But nothing was set in stone yet. Also talking about the stadium and everything else, the Athletic this week, and where we're actually at a new look stadium without the sort of circus tent that people are talking about on top of it. Plans are in place. There's a lot going on behind the scenes at Manchester United, but the important thing and the results on the pitch and playing in the right competitions is a million miles away right now. For today, I pray that Manchester United actually get a positive result and that we actually can go through the rest of this weekend on a little bit of well, not high, because no one's convinced by it still, but I just want to be able to be happy for a weekend knowing that my team's won a game. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game today. I'm not taking Sunderland for granted one bit, but yeah, I am worried. I'm worried for the game, definitely. And I pray that it goes well for Ruben Amorim, because I do fear that the onslaught is coming and we can't handle 2 weeks of this. We need something positive to go with. Let's hope that we get it today. Moments in games, says Jeff. Against Brentford, if Bruno scores the penalty, it's 2-2. If the referee had done the right thing and sent the defender off, we play the last 15 minutes against 10 men. Moments in games. Yeah, moments in games. If Bruno scores against Fulham, we take that penalty. If the goal's disallowed, which it might have been against Arsenal, we didn't lose that game. If, buts, maybes, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But what if Manchester United didn't concede a goal? What if Manchester United scored a goal? What if Bruno Fernandes played that simple pass instead of the Hollywood pass? If, buts, maybes that never happened and you can't count. And it's all right looking back, but deal with what's in front of you. Let's not have to talk about these certain decisions that I've made in games. Let's win a game normally, and then let's talk that way is where I want to be. I want to be winning games comfortably, not talking about decisions. And we did not deserve to win against Brentford. We did not deserve to win against Fulham, did we? And we definitely didn't deserve to win against Manchester City. But he goes on to say, like, in them moments in the City and the Brentford game, did you think that the system had failed before we made an error? Well, yeah. The long ball up leaving Harry Maguire was you deciding to play Harry Maguire instead of Lenny Yoro, a more athletic, faster defender, trying to play a high line against an athletic forward in Thiago and Shada for Brentford. That was a system failure. So, yeah, it was. I get what he's doing is defending things, but sometimes it's indefensible. Nathan says, Amorim has to go. He's destroying a player's confidence. He keeps playing the same old losers, expecting things to miraculously change. Amorim is finished. Sunderland will tear him apart. I don't think Sunderland will tear him apart. I don't think Sunderland are going to do that. Look, from what Ornstein said about Manchester United not having a plan, there's no one in line to replace Ruben Amorim. He's still going to be in place, even if he loses the game today. If United, and in Ornstein, in his comments for NBC and what he was saying, it was a little bit different. If United get battered, if it goes really bad, then it might be a different scenario. So even he knows that there's noises around Manchester United. There's an understanding things need to change and need to change very, very quickly. So what we're talking about here is... personally, I feel, again, today, it needs to be a kind of... A win will keep him in a job, but he could really do with a convincing performance today. From what I take from all of the conversations that are going on anyway. Has that game actually... Just seen Grandpa 70's comment there. Leeds versus Spurs moved from 12:30 because of the storm to an 8 o'clock kickoff tonight. That's going to be annoying for Spurs fans, especially with travelling back at that time of night. I know the storm is calming down by the end of today, but yeah, that is a weird one. I don't know if it's going to be... I'll have to look into that. I don't know if it has been changed. That would be interesting. Storm is definitely taking hold. It is hanging in Manchester. I'm guessing it's the same as that everywhere else in the country. The weather is horrendous today. Look, don't forget, everybody, we have got the watch-along coming up later on. That kickstarts today at 1:30. You are with me for the full afternoon. I'm going to set myself a challenge not to have any meltdowns at all in that watch-along. And I'll have to do a punishment if I do have any meltdowns. We'll do something like that in the watch-along as well. We'll try and do a couple more giveaways if we can also as well in that. So, yeah, lots to come as well. And, again, we're all just praying for a decent positive result this morning ahead of the game this afternoon. If you are going to the game, please be safe out there as well. Obviously, the weather's not nice, so make sure you get yourselves wrapped up. It's going to be a nasty one. And I hope Manchester United can cheer the fan base up and give us something to be happy about going into the international break. Let's just say that. Let's quickly get a few more comments in just before we wrap things up. Give me your thoughts on everything that's happened. Ramel says Glasner's favourite formation is a 4-4-2. He also played 4-3-3 in Germany. He's not he's not married to the 3-4-3. Ruben Terrain. No, I've heard that as well about Glasner. You will have a meltdown, Adam. United will get battered, says Nathan. Thanks, mate. That's filled me with confidence going into the game. United will not get battered today. I'm telling you now. So Leeds is still at 12:30. I don't know where that other story came from. My prediction for Man United's game today, as you all know, if you watched the show last night, go back and watch that when this live is finished, everybody. My prediction is 1-0 Man United today. Sunderland don't score many goals, but Sunderland are very, very hard to score against as well. They've got a good defensive record so far this season. So 1-0 Man United win today. Bruno, penalty, some form of set piece. That's what I'm going with. All my score predictions, by the way, are over for this weekend on Football Talks, my other channel. The link to that channel, Football Talks, is in the description. Go and subscribe to that one also. We are covering the games tomorrow, a Super Sunday kickoff show tomorrow for Football Talks as well. But today is all about Manchester United. I want you guys to enjoy it with me, so make sure that you do join us at 1:30 when we kickstart things off here for the watch-along. All of the Match Bingo specials. Get your tickets now. We have also got a Fantasy 5 League as well running on this game, everybody. We did have the link in there yesterday. In fact, I will just drop it in for the watch-along later on as well for you. So if you want to pick your Fantasy 5 team, the Fantasy League that I am running, then get across to the watch-along later on. More information on that there. Bless you, Adam. You do make me laugh when you go into full Kevin, the teenager mode when we concede goals. Mate, it's infuriating. It's infuriating watching Manchester United. It's hard to hold it in. I'm going to try today, and I promise you. You'll get sensible Adam today. Okay, yeah. Well, are you kidding, Adam? No, I'm going to try anyway. Look, there's a willing there. There's a willing to do it there. It's just, can I put it in practice? I swear to God, honestly, I see a red mist comes over me when I watch Manchester United. It should be entertaining anyway. Try to watch me not lose my plot completely is something to behold on its own. So at least you got some entertainment, and I guarantee you we're going to get a winner on Match Bingo today as well. So someone's going to win some money, and you can laugh at me trying to keep myself calm while watching Manchester United. Oh God, yes, what a day this is going to be. Until then, have a fantastic morning, everybody. Stay safe out there as well while the storm's going on. I'll catch up with you all at 1:30 this afternoon for the watch along and when it all really kicks off. But for now, that is it. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you, mods. Fantastic job in there again. Great comments this morning. Keep them flooding into the comment section once we've finished. Please hit that subscribe button and pop a